Then, Route 1, the Atlantic Highway, was just called the County Road, winding its way through Norumbega County, down east toward Bucksport. It was dirt, of course, rutted, and this time of the year altogether dusty. There were hardly any trees either, just sweeping hayfields and pasture around grim New England farmhouses with their scattered barns and outbuildings. This little part of the town of Layton is called Chartwell Settlement, named for the Chartwell family that established the Chartwell Primitive Baptist Church many years ago. The local farms are spaced along the county road at regular intervals. Some are down the low road, while the Fletcher family lives in a cluster of farms up the high road on Long Ridge. The crossroads is the center of the settlement. Taylor's General Store sits right there. Chandler School is named after Captain Josiah Chandler, who had underwritten its construction. It would serve as both the new schoolhouse and a community hall. It was completed just in time for the start of the summer school term. The old village schoolhouse down on the low road was now abandoned and eyed by many a boy as a potential fort in the wilderness in case of need, and the old schoolmistress was dismissed in favor of Mr. Granville Fletcher, recent graduate of Lexington Normal School, and armed with the most modern educational training. It is Monday, June 13th, 1853, the timeless first day of school. In the pre-dawn darkness, you can even smell the wood smoke from kitchen fires as ladies and girls are making breakfast, while in the barns, men and older boys do the morning chores, where the overriding odor is manure. The families gather for breakfast as the menfolk return from the barns.
Josiah, it's hard to believe that these children are now going back to school again for another year. I can remember when they were just babies and going to school for the first time. We have a brand new teacher. His name is Granville Fletcher. Now, you might have known him because he grew up here in this area, but I do not want you to call him Granville. You may call him Mr. Fletcher, and I want you to have absolute respect for him. Florence, put your lunch pail down.
Sorry, Mother.
Now, today we have this new prayer that one of my temperance ladies sent me, and we'll be praying it every day from now on. So it goes like this. Temper my desires, O Lord, turn my focus toward you, deliver me from the tendency to go to extremes that strain both body and soul. Let temperance grow in me and lead me to discover other virtues that bring deeper unison with you. In your sacred name I pray. Amen. We'll be saying that every day until you memorize it, and then we'll be saying it every meal from then on in. I will be serving you today. We have a special breakfast. Josiah, we have special breakfast today because it's the first day of school. We have pancakes and we have bacon and we have potatoes for the first day of school. Oh, and yes, please help yourself to pie. I packed pie in your lunch cans so that if there are children at school who don't have as much as you, I want to make sure that you are feeding them as well. Because you will know that there are some young people in your school that do not have as much as you do, or whose mothers are slack and don't care for them. So we want to make sure that you are good Christian children and that you are serving them. We have buttermilk here for those who want it. Josiah, here is tea. We have tea this morning.
Thank you.
Joe, you're not having any pie. Have some pie. I made it special.
No, thank you.
No, thank you for the pie. All right. Well, Joe, I want you to do this. You have several tasks today, and I want you to do this as part of your tasks. You are going to put up these posters, one at the school, one at the store, and one for Mr. Granville Fletcher, who will want to have one and put it in some place of prominence, I know. This is about the temperance lecture next week with Mr. Neil Dow is coming to town, and he's the mayor of Portland, and he is internationally known in the temperance movement. And I want you to understand that drinking leads to neglect of duty, moral degradation, and crime. You understand that, don't you, Joe? I never want you to drink. Never, ever, ever. Right, Josiah? Yes, of course, Josiah. Thank you. So these are your posters. Don't forget to put them up. You also need to go to the store and get the water, bring it over to the schoolroom so that the children have something to drink and everything that they need. You want to do anything that Mr. Granville Fletcher tells you to do because he's the new teacher and he deserves your absolute respect. Do I have that right?
Yes.
All right. Now, I'm going to keep track of all the people who give me 5 cents for the temperance lecture, so I'm keeping it right in this book, and you understand that we have all the records completed. How's the pie?
Great, Mother.
Good, good, good. Good morning, young men.
Good morning, Auntie Hope. Can I have a piece of candy, please? I'm really hungry.
Well, candy is something you have bought, you know. Maybe later you can do some chores to get some candy after school.
Okay, Auntie Hope.
That would be very good. I could use some help after school. Are you guys excited about the first day of school?
Yes, very, very exciting, especially about the new teacher.
Yes, you need to go and learn and behave and do as well as you can.
He has not stopped talking about it.
Oh, you're very excited.
Yes, very excited.
I'm so glad, yes, young man, that you will learn lots of new things, I'm sure. He's very well trained, new teacher. We're very excited about him, yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
What can I do for you?
Could I please have a candy, please?
Sure, what would you like?
Could I have all of that, please?
Remember your bed. Yes, all of it. Well, for 1 penny, is that what you've got?
Yeah.
You can get 8 pieces. What kind of candy would you like?
That one, please?
This one here.
Mhm.
7L. And we'll need one of these over here. All right, that'll be 1 penny.
Here. Thanks so much.
All right, have a good day at school. Learn lots of things.
I will.
Now, remember, do not eat all of it.
Okay.
Nice to see young people excited about going to school.
What you got for lunch in there?
Yeah, look at this. So I got a ham sandwich and apple square today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, look at Henry Chandler's lunch basket.
Henry Chandler, interesting as I live and breathe.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah, well, lovely to see you. Welcome to the new school.
Thank you.
Hey, what's going on here, Obadiah?
Just taking my little brother for a walk.
Oxhead.
Who are you calling Oxhead? Soul hunter.
Hey, leave Saul alone. He's just having a bad day.
Take that, you lazy little rabbit.
That was
You
uncalled for.
butt out of this, John Jr.
That was uncalled for, Obadiah.
I think it was quite called for.
We're both gentlemen here, Obadiah.
Gentlemen, you think you're on my level? You think you got what it takes to rule this school like I do?
I'm not trying to rule anything, Obadiah. I need to get you out of here.
Not trying to rule anything, then you best take a seat.
Where is Josiah Black? It's 8 o'clock and time for school to start.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please have a seat. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Henry. Good morning. Good morning. until I give you leave to sit. Thank you. Good morning, Obadiah.
I had an apple for you, but I got hungry.
That's the girls' side that you're walking towards. Oh, there's not a seat for you. Yeah, you can sit over there. Good morning.
Morning!
Morning.
You may be seated. I am your new schoolmaster, Mr. Fletcher. Now, some of you may know me, and no small few of you are even related to me. However, I want to let you all know that despite that relation, it comes second to our work here in this classroom. In past ages, you would have been reciting and learning things by rote. However, Captain Chandler has equipped us all with new texts to learn from. It is my belief that we would do better by reading books that have been written by modern authors and discussing them as people of note would do in the Capitol. Now, when I say your name, please raise your hand and say either here or present. Josiah Black.
Present.
Florence Black.
Present.
Henry Chandler.
Present.
Good to see you, Henry. Emma Chartwell.
Here.
John Chartwell Jr.
Present, sir.
Thank you. Elizabeth Cooper.
Present.
Jonathan Cooper.
Present.
Mary Fletcher. Mary Fletcher has missed the first day of school, I see. Well. James Fletcher.
Present, it's Jimmy, sir.
Jimmy. Obadiah Fletcher. Obadiah. When I call your name, you should say either here or present.
Yes, I am presented.
Very well. William Fletcher Jr. Perhaps Billy Fletcher?
Present.
You would think a child would know his own name. Solomon Hunter.
Here.
Peter Taylor Jr.
Present.
Thank you, Peter. Lucy White.
Here.
James Wood.
Here.
And Nathan Taylor.
Present.
All right. Now please, I'd like to just take a quick overview of who's got what books in hand already. All right, we've got some New England primers. Excellent. Well, we shall start with a quick recitation. I need to find out what level and grade you are all at. So please turn to the 6th page of your primer and repeat after me. A.
A.
In Adam's fall, we sinned all.
In Adam's fall, we sinned all.
B.
B.
Heaven to mind, the Bible find.
Heaven to mind, the Bible find.
C.
C.
Ouch. Henry, please do not disrupt class. Please write on the blackboard 10 times, I will not disrupt class. Thank you. of you with slates, please practice the following sentence. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy red dog. And those of you without slates, let me see. Billy. Please stand. A man has to travel 24 miles and has traveled all but 4. How many miles has he journeyed?
20 miles.
Very good. Elizabeth, please stand. Your papa gave you $9, and you give your brother 5. How many dollars do you have left? 4. Excellent, thank you. Let's go on to general knowledge. Peter Taylor. Who was the first man?
I do not know the answer to that question.
Very well. Florence Black. What are the colors of our nation's flag?
White, blue, and red.
Thank you. And Josiah Hunter. Who is the president of the United States?
Well, it ain't George Washington.
Yes, that narrows it down quite a bit, but that's hardly an answer.
Excuse me, sir, that is an absolutely preposterous question. Mr. Pierce has only been in office for, what, 1 week? Ask him
Charlo,
your
are you the teacher here?
No, sir.
Would you like to teach this class?
No, sir.
Very well. Hunter, get back here. Since you are so bright, since Chartwell has vouched for you, please recite the preamble to the Constitution of the United States of America.
I do not know that, sir.
I see. Well, being that it is now 10 o'clock, I am going to dismiss you all for recess. I'm disappointed in you, Chandler. Girls.
I can pull that.
Whoa!
Thank you.
That's a pretty good lunch there you have, Henry. Huh. What is this? Eggs what? And some celery? Try this, James. See if it don't kill you.
Hey, give him
You
his
know-
lunch back.
Oi.
You know,
Get outta
Henry,
here.
before you went to school here, you were too good for us. You stayed home and were tutored.
Hey, you oxhead. Get away from him.
Are you butting in again? Soul hunter? Let's get out of here, James.
Won't take all of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me help you. Sorry about that.
Nathan, please rise. And come forward for some elocution. I can find the elocution lesson. Here we are. Please read that paragraph. Pronunciation counts more than speed.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, if Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, if Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked?
Acceptable. Thank you. Now, before I send you all off to lunch, we were reading Uncle Tom's Cabin. This book was published last year, though previously it was released in a serial format, chapter by chapter, and it was written by an author from Maine, Miss Harriet Beecher Stowe. Well then, Haley, how will you trade? Said Mr. Shelby after an uneasy interval of silence. Well, haven't you a boy or gal that you could throw in with Tom? None that I could well spare, to tell the truth. It's only hard necessity that makes me willing to sell it at all. I don't like parting with any of my hands, and that's a fact. Here the door opened, and a small quadroon boy between 4 and 5 years of age entered the room. There was something in his appearance remarkably beautiful and engaging. His black hair, fine as floss silk, hung in glossy curls about his round, dimpled face, while a pair of large, dark eyes, full of fire and softness, looked out from beneath the rich, long lashes as he peered curiously into the apartment. A gay robe of scarlet and yellow plaid, carefully made and neatly fitted, set off to advantage the dark and rich style of his beauty. And a certain comic air of assurance, blended with bashfulness, showed that he had been not unused to being petted and noticed by his master. Lord!
Oh, Mr. Fletcher. Your scholars, they just need something to keep them awake, and so I brought them donuts.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, while you are distributing the donuts, I shall continue. Hello, Jim Crow, said Mr. Shelby, whistling and snapping a bunch of raisins towards him. Pick that up now. The child scampered with all his strength after the prize, while his master laughed. Come here, Jim Crow, he said. The child came up, and the master patted the curly head and chucked him under the chin. Now, Jim, show this gentleman how you can dance and sing. The boy commenced...
Don't mind me, Mr. Fletcher.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Jim, show this gentleman how you can dance and sing. The boy commenced one of those wild, grotesque songs common among the black folk.
Don't mind me, Mr. Fletcher.
I wasn't going to be minding you, ma'am.
Take two, so you know you're always hungry. I'll just sit right over here, Mr. Fletcher.
Okay, thank
Maybe
you.
I'll learn something.
Wouldn't that be something? Oh, where was I? Bravo, said Haley, throwing him a quarter of an orange. Now, Jim, walk up to old Uncle Cudjoe. when he has the rheumatism. Instantly, the flexible limbs of the child assume the appearance of deformity and distortion as, with his back humped up and his master's stick in his hand, he hobbled about the room, his childish face drawn into a doleful pucker. Excuse me. Oh, my gracious. And that's the end of your first day. Class is dismissed. Woo!
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Joe, little brother. Can you get this candy for me?
So, yeah, I'm
What
sorry
can
for
I
what
get for you,
happened.
Joe?
I'm gonna get my own candy.
4 of those.
I'm around the other day.
4 caramels coming right up.
Here.
That's a penny.
You want anything?
Thank you. What can I give to you, young man?
Sounds like
Do caramel?
Okay, you can get. And what else would you like?
I'd like to.
All right, that's a penny. Here you go. Thank you. Here.
How was school today?
Oh, it was really good. Mr. Fletcher read aloud from this notebook. It's called Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Huh, never heard of it.
I've been reading it. It's quite striking.
I agree. I liked it very much.
Very good. I'm glad he's teaching you new things. New modern literature. Very important.
Yeah.
Hello, Auntie.
What can I do for you? I told you this morning, no free candy right now.
I can't, dude. I just.
Want to say hi?
Hi. What did you learn at school today?
We read a new book, Uncle's Cabin. It was okay. I had to go in front of the class and read Peter Piper picked up pickled pepper.
Oh, you had to learn a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Saw a fight happen today.
There was a fight.
No,
What kind of a fight?
2 people were bullying this one kid. Yeah, feel bad for him.
Yep. Well, I hope that doesn't happen again. We need to be safe at school. Pepper, what have you been up to?
I've just been supervising my little brother.
Oh, you've been keeping an eye on your brother. Very good. That's what older brothers should do, is keep an eye on their younger siblings. Very good.
Florence, how was your day in school today?
Quite good. The new teacher read us a book today.
And what about you, Joe? How was your day in school today?
Good also.
And did you like this new teacher?
Yes.
And what about you? You liked the teacher?
Yes.
Well, tell your father all about it, because when I walked in, I thought it was quite different from anything I expected. Tell your father about what you did in school.
The new teacher read us some new literature. What was the name of it?
Tom's Cabin, I believe. But
Yes.
that was only after we did our schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar with that book.
Well, I understand it's a novel. I can't believe that he's reading a novel in school. Now, when I went to school, we had really serious learning. We learned from the New England Primer, and I still remember parts of it. A, in Adam's fall, we sinned all. Now that's education.
We did that at the beginning of class, Mother.
What was that?
We did it at the beginning of class.
You
Mother.
did that in the beginning. Well, they certainly weren't doing it when I was listening to you. I don't think that you're going to get a good education if all you're doing is sitting around listening to novels. But Josiah, you're on the school board. You're the one who's going to have to be making this decision about what's happening with this teacher. What do you think about it?
I think this merits further investigation, and I'll be talking to other parents and to the students to find out what's been going on and what they think.
Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think that we pay good money for education, and it should be the kind of education that we received so that they can go on and be educated people.
Thank you, Hope.
Good morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Nice day. Get your mail?
Yep.
Hey, now that we have a meeting of the school committee, informal, that is, I was wondering maybe we should talk about what's going on in the schoolhouse.
Okay.
Now, I know he's my son, by my first marriage, Granville Fletcher, but I don't like what I'm hearing. He's come here with new ideas about what school's all about and teaching kids things that I'm a little worried about.
Is it the book that he's reading?
Yes, it's the book, but you know, when he went to Lexington Normal School, he got what I think is too much education. And now he's got new ideas, and this is just a simple little schoolhouse. We're trying to teach boys and girls good things, right? You know, reading, writing, arithmetic. What is all this about this book? That's what I'm worried about.
Is he agitating on the subject of slavery?
I would think so. If you're reading the book, aren't you agitating on the subject of slavery? Aren't you creating problems in our nation? Now, I believe in the sacred union of this country, and this slavery agitation is threatening the very existence of our nation.
It is true that slavery is the law of the land, and that slaves are property and the source of wealth of half this country.
True enough. True enough.
But there are moral considerations that have many people in this community and other places quite concerned.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that we are in danger of losing the unity of our community if this question is pursued.
Well, it sounds like, gentlemen, you both, what do you think, Peter?
I think we have an agitator.
Exactly, you took the words right out of my mouth. We have an agitator in our community, and it's my own son. But that's the remainder. The sacred union of this nation is more important than my own blood. And if I have to vote him out of here, I will. But I suppose you better wait a little bit before we take action.
We had better think a bit and talk to the people, the other parents and the students, before we make any decisions. Because we need some unity in the community. This is the issue, and this is the problem with the agitation.
Well, I agree with you, except talking to the students, the scholars. I don't see any reason to talk to them, but we do definitely want to talk to their parents.
Well, I think we need to hear whether or not the teacher has dealt with the question of bullying as effectively as he might.
Bullying?
Yes. Your nephew?
Obadiah?
Obadiah?
I don't believe that.
Have you not heard?
I have not.
Ah, then you have some investigating to do.
I find it very hard to believe that my nephew, who I have a lot of respect for, would be bullying. He's a leader in the monkey.
You don't need to believe, you need to investigate.
Well, I think the more important issue is this teacher.
And his ability to keep order in the classroom.
Absolutely.
The overall question is order in this community and order in the classroom.
Absolutely. All right, well, it seems like we're in right minds. I think we may have an agreement, but we've decided not to do anything quite yet.
Good.
Well, good afternoon to you, gentlemen. Granville.
Father?
What is this about this book you've been reading in the school?
This book?
This book, that book, actually, that book.
Oh, you must mean Uncle Tom's Cabin.
I do mean that piece of trash, Uncle Tom's Cabin. You know you're becoming an agitator?
An agitator?
And you're becoming a disgrace to the Fletcher
agitator
family.
to the crime that is happening in the south of our country?
So you are trying to change this community around and poison the minds of our kids.
Not poison, alleviate the shadows.
When did you become such a colored lover? You are a disgrace to my family!
Thank you. He's a shocking creature, isn't he, this traitor? So unfeeling. It's dreadful, really. Oh, but nobody ever thinks anything of these traitors.
Teacher, why did you become such a colored lover?
Obadiah, relation or no, you will show respect in this classroom.
I only show respect to those who deserve my respect.
All All right, get up here.
Help!
That's it. You are through at this school. As of this moment, you are finished.
This ain't the end. You're finished, teacher.
Now, children, this is a very serious matter, so speak the truth and all will be well. Describe in your own words what you witnessed at the schoolhouse yesterday. Lawrence?
Mr. Fletcher started teaching the class, and then Jebediah interrupted him. Mr. Fletcher proceeded to call Jebediah up to the front of the class for punishment, and then Jebediah tried to tackle Mr. Fletcher, and Mr. Fletcher expelled Jebediah.
What was Obadiah's problem with the lesson?
The book we were reading.
Ah. Thank you. Joseph?
Yeah. Mr. Fletcher was teaching the class from that book. Obadiah then said that Mr. Fletcher was not actually... Okay, Mr. Fletcher was not, in fact, correct in that statement. Then, Mr. Fletcher called Obadiah up for punishment. Then, yes, Obadiah then attempted to, as stated before, tackle Mr. Fletcher, and another student came up as well.
Would you say that altercation stopped the work of the class?
Yes, as most altercations in class would.
Is this common in your school?
No, this is not common at all.
So what happened that day was Mr. Fletcher was reading our book, and then the person said was something that was not nice, something kind of like, why do you call a lover, on that line, and then he got called up here for punishment, and then he proceeded to attack Mr. Fletcher, and another student was trying to come up, but 3 people stopped the other kid from coming up, and then Mr. Fletcher got him up and threw him out the door and told him to please do not come back.
So, if I understand what I'm hearing so far, Peter and Josiah, he's all in favor of free exchange of opinions until somebody in the class has a free opinion, and then he wants to whip him. That's what I'm hearing.
I think we need to ask whether anyone has an opinion on the content of the book.
I have an opinion on the book, which is it should not be taught in this class because it's going against what we've learned from our parents and our generations. And it's going against everything we know today. And again, with the teacher, he snapped and called him up to the class at the beginning, brought him up to the class and tried to hit him. Obadiah was defending himself from the attack. And I tried to come up to help, and 3 other students prevented me from breaking them up.
Oh, I like this boy.
Anyone else?
That's Salt Country. He doesn't have any opinions.
I know he doesn't have any lunch.
My opinion on that book is not okay. It should not be taught or taught in this school at all because of how harmful of knowledge that is.
Alright.
And
Thank
I
you.
also think that Obadiah was doing the right thing, protecting himself.
We come from an abolitionist family.
I think that that book was teaching important things about the South and how slavery is wrong.
See, we may already form
Thank
an
you.
opinion in a young mind.
That's what my parents taught me.
Thank you. In the back.
With all due respect, I think the book should be taught because whether or not people like the content, it's important to see other views. And the reason Obadiah, the reason he was punished is he interrupted the teacher in the middle of a lesson and openly disrespected him. And James was helping him attack the teacher because after Obadiah disrespected Mr. Fletcher called him up for punishment, and Obadiah tried to stop said punishment, and that's the reason the fight started.
May I ask, you're Miss Chartwell, right?
Yes.
May I ask, is this teacher, Mr. Fletcher, has he had some difficulties maintaining control of his classroom, do you think?
Minor, but the sort of thing that happens with all teachers. Like, there's always going to be people who are going to mess around, but he kept control of the classroom very well up until today.
Thank you.
To change the subject of the question just slightly, do you have an opinion on the importance of order when looking at difficult questions where there are very strong opinions on both sides, such as the question of slavery, on which half our country is economically dependent, and on which the law is very clear that slaves are the property of their owners? Yes?
I think order is important because, especially with difficult questions, because on both sides, people are very opinionated and it's very easy when you're angry at somebody because they are saying against everything you believe. It's very easy to get angry, and many people do, and things will get out of control, and order is very important so that people can have educated conversations instead of just going direct for like torches and pitchforks.
Thank you.
I do think order is important, but stuff like that should not be taught in a classroom, and Obadiah, in my opinion, had every right to interrupt, to say his opinion on it, which freedom of speech is we're in this country where we have freedom of speech. He can say his point of views without having to be punished.
Isn't there a question of authority here?
Yes.
Who is the authority in a classroom?
The teacher.
Was that authority being respected by Obadiah's actions?
No.
Thank you.
Obadiah, I think, was doing the right thing because he didn't like the way that Mr. Fletcher was talking about this story or reading it, and I think maybe he thought it was a sensitive subject, so he wanted to butt in and stop the subject from happening, and then things just led on from there. And I don't think anybody in this classroom would like to get whipped.
how important do you think it is to maintain order in your school and your community?
I think it's extremely important, but I think it's very hard when we're speaking of these matters, because different people have very different opinions, and on the specific matter we are talking about, people have very, very strong opinions. But I think he did a good job overall, but not the best.
I think we have time for one more.
Guess it's easy to do what he did, order in class in school. But I don't think it was right for him to get the whip out immediately. But yes, he does have order in his classroom.
Well, I think we have a case to consider among ourselves. And we will meet privately and we will inform you of our decision.
I think we can just vote. Go.
Oh, we can vote
Yeah,
now?
let's just vote. We know. I believe in open public discussions, and I'm not afraid of anybody knowing my vote. I vote we fire him.
I don't have enough I have not made a complete decision on this and would like a little more time to consider.
How do you vote, Peter?
I would say he could continue teaching if he stopped reading from that book. What do you think of that?
Well, it doesn't say much for the order in the classroom problem. But I suppose if he was agreed to stop reading the book, then we might allow him to continue teaching. What do you think, Josiah?
I would think that we could continue on a test basis.
Well, let's ask him. Step up.
Are you willing to put aside the reading of Uncle Tom's Cabin to this class and to continue with teaching in the regular form?
I am not. Are you so afraid of the words in that book that you will fire me simply for reading them, not for stating an opinion on them one way or the other, just by sharing them with the students?
I think the answer to that is yes.
Good day.
Well then, that takes care of that. I suggest that we ask Miss Hope Taylor to resume control of the classroom.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes. You are all used to her style and there are no objections to her willingness to whip out of order. Although it seems clear that some of you could benefit from physical discipline.
Get over here, Jimmy. You're a little lazy rooster, you know that? You think I'm gonna do all the chores in this household?
I'm so young over there. There's only so much I can do.
So much you can do, you sound like our father. And you know what he is? With his drinking? He's a fiddle-playing drunk. And do you know what that's gonna make you?
Son?
It's gonna make you a fiddle-playing drunk. And if you don't end up a fiddle-playing drunk, you'll have me to thank for it. Get in there, you lazy little rabbit. And have fun with King Rooster.
Class, we're going to get back to traditional teaching. Take out your New England primers, and we're going to read from this part. In the A, we're going to start with A. In Adam's fall, we sinned all.
In Adam's fall, we sinned all.
Very good. Heaven B, heaven to find the Bible mind.
Heaven to find the Bible mind.
Very good. C, Christ crucified for sinners died.
Christ crucified for sinners died.
Very good.
Morning has come, night shades away. Rise with the sun and welcome the day. Morning has come, night shades away. Rise with the sun and welcome the day. Morning has come.